The Galactic Dominion had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. They had taken 11,000 worlds. Their method was always the same. Find a planet. Study it. Scare the people. Take everything. Species that gave up lived as slaves. Species that fought back burned. Scout Commander Veleth was bored when he wrote his report about Earth. It was just another small planet around a yellow star. The creatures there had only learned to split atoms a few decades ago. They still fought wars with each other over lines on maps. They killed each other over which god was real. They poisoned their own air and water. Veleth laughed as he typed his report. These humans were like children playing with fire. They would be easy to crush. Planet, Earth. Location, Outer Arm. Sector 7G. Species, human. Technology level, basic. Threat level, 0. Recommended action, standard conquest. The War Council read the report in less than a minute. They approved the invasion in less than 2. Admiral Kreth was given command of the conquest fleet. 300 giant warships. 2,000 smaller vessels. It was more than enough to take 100 planets like Earth. Admiral Kreth considered the mission a vacation. He told his officers it would be good practice for the new recruits. Nobody expected any real fighting. The fleet left Dominion space and began the long journey to Earth. On Earth. Nobody knew death was coming. Dr. Park Jisoo worked late that night at the Hawkins Observatory in New Mexico. She was 34 years old, with tired eyes and coffee-stained clothes. She had spent her whole life looking at stars and had never found anything interesting. Just rocks and gas and empty space. But tonight was different. Her computer showed something strange. Objects were moving toward Earth. Thousands of them. At first she thought they were asteroids. But asteroids did not fly in perfect formation. Asteroids did not slow down as they got closer. Her hand shook as she checked the numbers again and again. She called her friend, Dr. Lee Dong-hyun, at home. He answered with sleep in his voice. "Dong-hyun," she whispered. "You need to come to the lab right now." "Jisoo, it is 3 in the morning. What is wrong?" "They are not asteroids. They are ships. Thousands of ships. And they are coming here." Dr. Lee arrived in 20 minutes. His hair was messy and his shirt was inside out. He looked at the screen for a long time without speaking. Then he sat down heavily in a chair. "This is real," he said. It was not a question. "This is real," Dr. Park confirmed. "They called the government. The government called other governments." Within hours, every leader on Earth knew the truth. Aliens were coming. And they did not look friendly. The world went crazy. Some people ran to churches and temples and mosques. They prayed for salvation. Others ran to stores and took everything they could carry. Fights broke out over food and water. The stock markets crashed. Armies went on high alert. News channels played the same footage over and over. Strange lights in the sky. Experts arguing about what to do. People crying in the streets. But deep under the Rocky Mountains, different people were having a different conversation. The bunker was cold and gray. Soldiers with guns stood at every door. Inside a large room, the most important military leaders in America sat around a long table. General Kim Tae-young stood at the front. He was 60 years old with silver hair and eyes like ice. He had fought in 3 wars and had never lost. But he had never faced anything like this. "We cannot win," he said simply. "Our best weapons are toys compared to theirs. Our fastest ships cannot even leave our solar system. If we fight them directly, we die. All of us. Every human on Earth." The room was silent. Admiral Harrison, a large man with a red face, slammed his fist on the table. "So we just give up? We surrender?" "No," said a quiet voice from the corner. Everyone turned to look. A small woman stood up. She was Professor Choi Yoonji, a history teacher from a university nobody had heard of. She was 50 years old with gray streaks in her black hair. Nobody knew why she was in the room. "Who are you?" Admiral Harrison demanded. "I study history," Professor Choi said. "And history teaches us something important. When a weak group meets a strong group, the weak group has two choices: die fast by fighting, or make winning so painful that the strong group gives up." General Kim nodded slowly. "Go on." Professor Choi walked to the front of the room. Her shoes clicked on the concrete floor. She looked at each person one by one. "The aliens are strong, but they want something from us: resources, labor, our planet. If they just wanted us dead, they would have shot missiles from space. But they are sending soldiers. That means they want to take, not destroy. How does that help us?" Someone asked. "Because taking is hard," Professor Choi said. "Destroying is easy. Any fool can burn a house down. But living in it? Keeping it? That takes work. And we can make that work very, very expensive." She pressed a button. Images appeared on the wall. Old photographs. Black and white. Soldiers in trenches. Cities on fire. Mushroom clouds rising into the sky. Humans have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We have invented every possible way to hurt each other. Guns, bombs, poison gas, nuclear weapons. We have killed millions of our own kind, billions. And every time, we got back up. We rebuilt. We kept going. She looked at the ceiling, as if she could see through the rock and into space. These aliens have never met anything like us. They have conquered weak species who gave up easily. They do not know what happens when you corner a human. They do not know what we become when we are afraid and angry and have nothing left to lose. Admiral Harrison laughed bitterly. "You want to scare them? With history lessons?" "No," Professor Choi smiled. It was not a nice smile. "I want to show them exactly what they are walking into. I want to show them our wars, our weapons, our endless, bloody, stubborn refusal to die quietly." She turned to General Kim. "They think we are sheep. Let us show them we are wolves." The room was quiet for a long moment. Then General Kim smiled too. It was the same cold smile. "Tell me more, Professor. Tell me everything." And so, while the alien fleet flew closer through the dark of space, the humans began to plan. Not how to win. They knew they could not win. But how to make the aliens wish they had never heard of Earth. Above them, the stars watched and waited. The galaxy was about to learn what humans really were. Admiral Kreth sat in his private room on the flagship Eternal Dominion. The ship was the size of a small city. It carried 10,000 soldiers and enough weapons to burn a continent. He had commanded this ship for 200 years and had never lost a battle. He was drinking hot liquid from a metal cup when his communication officer called. "Admiral, we have received a message from the target planet." Kreth sighed. This always happened. Weak species always sent messages when they saw the fleet coming. Some begged for mercy. Some made foolish threats. Some offered to surrender everything if their leaders could keep their power. It was always the same. "What do they want?" he asked, not really caring. "Sir, I think you need to see this yourself." Something in the officer's voice made Kreth sit up straight. He walked to the command center. Officers moved out of his way. On the main screen, a document glowed with strange symbols. "It has been translated into 17 of our languages," the communication officer said. His voice was shaking slightly. "Sir, they should not know our languages. We have never contacted them before." Kreth felt a small cold feeling in his stomach. He began to read. The message was short. It was addressed to him personally. To the commander of the approaching fleet, it began. "We know who you are. We have studied your empire. You have taken 11,247 worlds. Your average conquest takes less than 5 cycles. Your average losses are about 12% of your soldiers. Very impressive. Kreth frowned. How did they know these numbers? This information was classified. He kept reading. We have also studied your soldiers. They feel pain and fear it. Your officers are afraid of failing. Your admirals are afraid of your leaders. You fight because you must. You conquer because you are ordered to. We are different. We fight because we want to. We have been fighting each other for 15,000 years. We have created over 800 different ways to kill. We have split atoms and made bombs that can destroy cities. We have made diseases in laboratories. We have turned the basic forces of nature into weapons. We did all of this to ourselves, to each other, for practice. Kreth's cold feeling grew stronger. You are not invading a planet. You are kicking a nest of angry insects the size of a world. Every insect will sting you, every single one, until you kill us all or leave. If you come to our world, this is what will happen. Every soldier you send will face endless attacks. We will hide in cities and forests and mountains. We will attack at night. We will use bombs hidden in roads. We will poison your food. We will never stop. Never. We will capture your weapons and learn how they work. Give us 1 generation, and we will build better ones. We always do. We will not surrender. We do not know how. Our history books are full of last stands and final battles, and people who chose death over submission. This is who we are. And when we have hurt you enough, when your empire is bleeding from 1,000 wounds, we will find your home. We will come for you. Not because we need to, because we want to. This is not a threat. This is just history. This is what we have always done. We broke ourselves 1,000 times and got stronger every time. What do you think we will do to you? We suggest you find easier prey. At the bottom was a note. We have attached a video about one of our smaller wars. It was called World War II. About 60 million of us died. Please watch it. Learn what you are dealing with. The message was signed, the United Nations of Earth, Humanity. Kreth stood very still. Around him, his officers were whispering. He could smell their fear. He could feel his own. Play the video, he ordered. The screen flickered. Images appeared. Grainy, old images from a primitive recording device. But what they showed was clear enough. Kreth watched soldiers charge out of metal boats onto a beach. Guns cut them down by the hundreds. But more kept coming, climbing over the bodies of their friends, screaming, dying, still fighting. He watched cities burn, not from orbital strikes, but from simple fire. Humans had set their own cities on fire, rather than let enemies have them. He watched a bright flash of light. A cloud shaped like a mushroom rose into the sky. A whole city disappeared. The humans had done this to themselves. Twice. He watched soldiers frozen in snow, still holding their weapons. He watched prisoners so thin their bones showed through their skin. He watched mass graves filled with thousands of bodies dotted, and through it all, the humans kept fighting. Year after year. Battle after battle. Millions died and millions more took their place. The video ended. The room was silent. Admiral Kreth realized his hands were shaking. He had conquered 43 worlds. He had killed billions of creatures. He had never felt fear like this. These humans were insane. They had to be. No rational species would do these things to itself. No sane creature would choose death over surrender again and again and again. But they were not just insane. They were effective. They had nearly destroyed themselves and instead had built an industrial civilization from the ashes. In less than a century after that war, They had gone to their moon. They had split atoms for power. They had built thinking machines. What would they do with Dominion technology? What would they become in 100 years? 1,000? Kreth did not want to find out. He turned to his communication officer. Send this message and the video to the War Council. Highest priority. Mark it urgent. What should I say, Admiral? Kreth looked at the blue planet growing larger on the screens. Such a small world. Such a deadly species. Tell them we need to talk. Tell them everything has changed. Tell them. He paused, searching for the right words. Tell them these creatures are not prey. I do not know what they are, but I know we should not be here. The message was sent. The fleet stopped at the edge of the solar system and waited. And on Earth, the humans waited too. They did not know if their plan would work. They did not know if the aliens had even read their message, but they were not afraid. They had been afraid at first, when the ships appeared. But now they were something else. Something older and more dangerous. They were angry. And angry humans had changed the world before. They would change the galaxy if they had to. The War Council of the Galactic Dominion had not met in emergency for 600 years. The last time had been for a deadly disease that nearly killed 3 whole sectors. That threat had taken months to understand. This threat came from a single planet's letter. The council chamber was a giant dome made of black crystal. 12 seats circled a raised platform. Each seat held one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They had ruled for centuries. They had never known doubt. Today they knew fear. High Councilor Morax was the oldest. His body had turned to something like living stone over the thousands of years he had lived. He moved slowly, but his mind was still sharp. He read the human message out loud. His voice echoed in the silent chamber. When he finished, nobody spoke. War Minister Drax broke the silence. He was young by council standards, only 400 years old. His species had been warriors before joining the Dominion. He did not like feeling afraid. "This is a trick," he said loudly. "Weak species always make threats. We have heard this before. We ignore it and proceed. They will break like all the others." Admiral Kreth's image flickered into existence above the platform. He had been given permission to address the council directly. This was very rare. "With deep respect, War Minister, I have studied these creatures. Their threats are not lies. If anything, they are being modest." He waved his hand and images filled the air above the council. The same images he had watched on his ship. The beaches red with blood. The cities turning to ash. The mushroom clouds. "This is from one of their smaller conflicts," Kreth said. 60 million dead in 6 years. They kept fighting until one side was completely destroyed. And then the winners rebuilt the losers and made them allies. Within 50 years, former enemies were trading partners. Councilor Vex leaned forward. Her species communicated through colors that rippled across their skin. Right now she was pale blue, the color of deep worry. Why would they rebuild enemies? "That makes no sense." "Because they are practical," Kreth replied. "They do not hold grudges forever. They fight with total commitment, and then they move on. They are capable of both extreme violence and extreme cooperation. This makes them unpredictable. This makes them dangerous." Intelligence Director Zell stood up. She was thin and gray, with too many eyes. Her job was to understand enemy minds. She had broken 1,000 species. She had never seen anything like humans. "We ran psychological analysis on them," she said. "The results are disturbing. They cannot be scared into submission. When you threaten them, they become more determined. They have a concept they call the underdog. It means the weaker fighter. They celebrate underdogs. They make stories about underdogs winning against impossible odds. They believe such victories are noble and right. That is insanity, Drax muttered. Yes, Zell agreed. But it is effective insanity. Their history proves it. Again and again, smaller human groups have defeated larger ones through sheer refusal to quit. They call it spirit or will or heart. We have no equivalent concept. She pulled up more data. There is more. Individual humans will die happily if they believe their death serves a purpose. They find meaning in sacrifice. Mothers will kill to protect children. Soldiers will charge guns for their friends. Old people will starve so young people can eat. They are the most individually selfish and collectively self-sacrificing species we have ever seen. Both at the same time. High Counselor Morax's stone face did not change, but his voice was heavy. What do you recommend, Admiral? Kreth's image straightened. We have 3 choices. First, we invade as planned. We will win eventually, but it will take 40 to 60 years of constant fighting. We will lose 60 to 80% of our invasion force. The economic cost will be 17 times the value of the planet's resources. And every other conquered species will see that resistance is possible. Rebellions will spread. The Council shifted uncomfortably. This was their greatest fear. Their empire was held together by the belief that fighting back was pointless. If that belief broke, everything could fall apart. Second choice, Kreth continued. We bomb the planet from space until nothing lives. This solves the human problem, but destroys all resources. It also violates our own laws and may bring attention from the Ascended Collective. Nobody wanted that. The Ascended were beings who had evolved beyond physical form. They usually ignored the affairs of younger species. But they had rules about complete destruction of intelligent life. Breaking those rules had consequences. Third choice. We leave. We declare Earth a forbidden zone. We pretend it does not exist. We hope they never develop the technology to reach us. War Minister Drax slammed his limb against his seat. Unacceptable. We are the Galactic Dominion. We have never retreated. We cannot show weakness. Is it weakness to avoid a trap? Admiral Kreth asked quietly. Is it weakness to choose not to bleed for a prize that is not worth the cost? He pointed at the images still floating in the air. Humans fighting. Humans dying. Humans refusing to stop. Look at them, War Minister. Really look. They have been preparing for us their entire existence. Every war they fought was practice. Every weapon they built was a step toward this moment. They did not know we were coming, but they were ready anyway, because that is what they are. They are survivors. They are fighters. They are the creatures that evolution built to never, ever give up. He lowered his voice. We can beat them. I believe that. But beating them will cost us everything. And even then, I am not sure they would stay beaten. Give them a generation under our rule, and they will learn our technology. Give them 2 generations, and they will use it against us. They told us they would find our homeworld. I believe them. I have looked into their history, and I believe every word they wrote. The council was silent for a long moment. Finally, High Counselor Morax spoke. We will vote. All in favor of proceeding with invasion? Drax raised his limb. He was alone. All in favor of orbital destruction? Nobody moved. All in favor of withdrawal and quarantine? 11 limbs rose slowly into the air. Morax nodded his heavy head. It is decided. Admiral Kreth, you will withdraw immediately. Earth is now classified as a Type Omega hazard zone. No Dominion vessel may approach within 10 light years. All records of the planet will be sealed. As far as the galaxy knows, Earth does not exist. Kreth bowed his image. Understood, High Counselor. And the message from the humans? The video? Morax was quiet for a moment. Destroy all copies. No one must know that we were frightened away by a letter from primitives. But even as he gave the order, Morax knew it was too late. Secrets did not stay secret in the galaxy. Someone would talk. Someone always talked, and when they did, everything would change. The council session ended. The members returned to their sectors. They tried to forget what they had seen. They could not forget Dot in their dreams. They saw beaches covered with blood. They saw mushroom clouds. They saw a small blue planet full of creatures who did not know how to surrender, and they were afraid. The Dominion tried to keep the secret. They failed. Within 3 days, copies of the human message spread across the galaxy. Someone on Admiral Kreth's ship had saved it. Someone in the War Council had whispered about it. Someone always talked. The message traveled through hidden networks. Slaves passed it to other slaves. Rebels shared it in dark rooms. Free species analyzed it with great interest. Within a week, half the galaxy had read what the humans wrote, and everyone was talking about it. On the conquered world of Telos 7, a factory worker named Rix worked 18 hours a day making parts for Dominion ships. He had worked in the factory since he was a child. His parents had died in the conquest. His sister had been taken to serve in a Dominion household. He had no hope, but one night another worker showed him a small screen. On it was the human message. Rix read it 3 times. His hands were shaking by the end. "They said no," he whispered. "They looked at the Dominion fleet and said no." "Not just no," the other worker said. "They made the Dominion run away. The fleet is already leaving Earth's space. They are retreating." Rix could not believe it. The Dominion had never retreated. They had crushed every species that resisted. They were unstoppable, but the humans had stopped them. With a letter, "Who are these creatures?" Rix asked. "Nobody knows much. A young species, still fighting among themselves. But they are not afraid. Look what they wrote. Look what they promised." They meant every word. Rix looked at the message again. One line stood out to him. "We broke ourselves 1,000 times and got stronger every time." He thought about his own people. They had surrendered after only one war. They had given up because fighting seemed pointless. They had accepted slavery because death seemed worse. But these humans did not think that way. They would rather die than kneel. They would rather burn than submit. Maybe, Rix thought, maybe his people had made the wrong choice. That night, he talked to other workers. He showed them the message. He saw the same look in their eyes that he felt in his heart. Something was waking up. Something that the Dominion had thought they had killed forever. Hope. On the merchant station Nexus Prime. Traders from 100 species gathered in loud bars to discuss the news. Gambling was popular on Nexus Prime. People bet on everything, including wars and conquests. When the human message arrived, traders started betting on Earth. Would the Dominion invade? Would the humans fight? Would anyone survive? The odds changed every hour as more information came in. Then footage of human wars started spreading. The same footage Admiral Kreth had watched. Suddenly, nobody wanted to bet against the humans. An old trader named Voss, whose species had surrendered without a fight 2,000 years ago, watched the footage of World War II. He saw the soldiers charging on the beaches. He saw them climbing over dead bodies to reach their enemies. He saw them dying by the thousands and more taking their place. "What kind of species does this?" He asked nobody in particular. "The kind that wins," another trader answered. "Eventually, they are insane." "Maybe, but would you want to fight them?" Voss thought about it. His species had given up because they calculated the odds and decided resistance was illogical. Looking at these humans, he realized something important. The humans did not care about odds. They did not calculate. They just fought. And somehow, That made them more dangerous than any logical species could ever be. No, he finally said, I would not want to fight them. I would want them on my side. Far away, in a place that existed outside normal space, the Ascended Collective observed everything. They had evolved past physical bodies millions of years ago. They were made of pure thought and energy. They watched younger species the way adults watch children play. Usually, they found the games boring. Empires rose and fell. Species evolved and went extinct. It was all very predictable, but the humans were interesting. Fascinating, one ascended being pulsed to another. The young species has discovered the fundamental truth. Which truth? There are many. That wars are not won by weapons or numbers. Wars are won by will. The side that refuses to give up will always outlast the side that can be broken. These humans have unlimited will. They are still primitive. They have not even left their star system. True, but they will. And when they do, they will change everything. They are already changing everything. Look at the conquered worlds. Look at the slaves. They are waking up. The other ascended being considered this. Should we intervene? No, we watch. We have watched for millions of years. This is the most interesting thing to happen in a very long time. Let us see what happens. Back on Earth, the humans did not know they had become famous. They did not know that slaves whispered their name in dark factories. They did not know that traitors bet on their survival. They did not know that ancient godlike beings watched them with curiosity. They only knew that the alien fleet had stopped coming closer. Dr. Park Ji-soo tracked the fleet every day. She watched the dots on her screen that represented ships that could destroy her whole planet. For 2 weeks, they just sat there at the edge of the solar system. Then, on the 15th day, they started moving. Dong-yoon! She shouted. Come look at this. Dr. Lee Dong-yoon ran to her station. Together they watched the fleet turn around. 300 giant warships. 2,000 smaller vessels. All of them flying away from Earth. They are leaving, Dr. Lee whispered. They are actually leaving. Dr. Park felt tears on her face. She did not remember starting to cry. We did it. Somehow, we did it. In the bunker, General Kim Tae-young received the news. He sat down heavily in his chair. For the first time in weeks, the weight lifted from his shoulders. Professor Choi Yoonji found him staring at the wall. They are retreating, he told her. Your plan worked. Our plan, she corrected. All of humanity's plan. We showed them what we are. They made the smart choice. For now, the general said. They will be back someday. Probably. But we will be ready. We are always ready. That is what they do not understand about us. We never stop preparing. We never stop fighting. Even when there is no enemy, we fight each other. It keeps us sharp. She sat down next to him. General, do you know what the most dangerous animal on Earth is? Humans? No, humans with time. Give us enough time and we will solve any problem. We will build any weapon. We will reach any goal. The Dominion gave us a warning today. They showed us that there are threats in the stars. Now we know. Now we will prepare. The general nodded slowly. How long until we can reach them? Maybe 50 years. Maybe 100. We will build ships. We will learn their technology. And then we will go out there and make sure nobody ever threatens Earth again. That almost sounds like a threat. Professor Choi smiled her cold smile. Not a threat, General. A promise. The same promise humans have always made. Leave us alone, and we will leave you alone. Attack us, and we will end you. Simple, clear, true. The general looked at the ceiling, imagining the stars beyond. I almost feel sorry for them. Do not. They would have killed us all without a second thought. They just realized we would have made them pay too high a price. That is not mercy. That is mathematics. She stood up and walked toward the door. Now, if you will excuse me, I have work to do. We need to start planning for the future. The stars are waiting. She left. The general stayed, thinking about everything that had happened. The galaxy was watching Earth now. He could feel it somehow. Millions of eyes looking at the small blue planet that had done the impossible. He hoped they remembered what they saw. Humans did not make threats. They made promises, and they always kept them. Admiral Kreth stood on the bridge of his ship and watched Earth grow smaller on the screens. The blue planet became a dot. The dot became nothing. Soon there was only empty space. He had received his orders from the War Council. 4 words. Withdraw. Quarantine zone established. He felt no shame. He had served the Dominion for 300 years. He had conquered 43 worlds. He had destroyed civilizations that had existed for thousands of years. But he was not stupid. He knew when to fight and when to walk away. And everything in his body told him to walk away from Earth Dot before leaving the solar system. He wrote his final report. He wanted future generations to understand what he had seen, what he had felt, why he had made his choice. The species called humans is unlike anything in our records, he wrote. They are not simply aggressive. Many young species are aggressive. They are not simply strong. Many species are strong. They are something new, something we have never seen before. He thought for a long time about the right words. They are adaptive violence given form. They take every bad thing that happens to them and turn it into a weapon. Their harsh world made them hard. Their constant wars made them skilled. Their near destruction made them careful. But most importantly, their suffering made them angry. And they stay angry forever. They do not fight to win. They fight because they cannot imagine not fighting. Surrender is not a word they understand. It is not in their nature. You can kill a human. You can kill 1,000,000 humans. You cannot make humans give up. If we had invaded, we would have won. I believe this. Our weapons are better. Our ships are faster. Our soldiers are stronger. We would have crushed their armies and taken their cities and put their people to work. And then, in 1 generation, they would have learned everything about us. Our technology, our tactics, our weaknesses. They would have hidden this knowledge. They would have pretended to be good slaves. And when they were ready, they would have struck. They told us they would find our homeworld. I have studied their history. When humans make a promise, they keep it. It might take them 100 years. It might take them 1,000. But they would come. And they would not come to talk. The Dominion has conquered 11,000 worlds. Let us be satisfied with that number. Let us forget that Earth exists. Let them fight among themselves. Let them burn out their anger on each other. And let us pray to whatever gods still listen that they never learn to travel between stars. Because if they reached the galaxy, he stopped writing. He did not know how to finish the sentence. What would humans become with access to unlimited resources and endless space? He did not want to imagine it. He deleted the last line and ended the report simply. Earth is not worth the cost. This is my professional opinion. Let future admirals learn from my words. Some prey is too dangerous to hunt. He submitted the report and gave the order to leave. The fleet turned away from Sol and began the long journey home. Behind them, Earth continued spinning. The humans continued living. And they continued preparing. The quarantine held for 53 years. During those years, humanity changed. The threat from space had united them in ways nothing else ever had. Old enemies became friends. Resources that once went to wars between nations now went to science. The brightest minds worked together on a single goal, reaching the stars. Dr. Park Ji-soo led the research team. She was no longer young. Her hair was gray now, and her eyes needed glasses. But her mind was as sharp as ever. She had spent her whole career looking at stars. Now, she would touch them. The first faster-than-light engine was tested on a cold morning in December. The ship was small, barely large enough for a crew of 10. It looked like a toy compared to the Dominion warships. But it worked. Dr. Park was on that ship. She was 76 years old and refused to stay behind. I saw them coming, she told the reporters before launch. I watched their fleet from my little observatory. I thought we were going to die. Now I'm going to go out there and see what scared them so much. The ship was called the Pioneer. Its captain was Choi Min-ho, a young man whose grandmother had been Professor Choi Yoon-ji. He had grown up on stories of the Great Standoff. He had dedicated his life to this moment. "Dr. Park," he said as they prepared to jump, "what do you think they will do when they see us?" She looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Dominion was waiting. Somewhere out there, slaves still worked in factories, dreaming of freedom. Somewhere out there, traders still talked about the crazy species that had made an empire run away. They will do what every intelligent creature does when it realizes it is not alone in the dark, she said. What is that? Wonder if they are the hunter or the hunted. The engine activated. Space twisted around the ship. For a moment, everything went white. Then they were somewhere else. Another star system. Another part of the galaxy. Captain Choi checked his instruments. Jump successful. We are 10 light years from Earth. We are in Dominion space. The bridge was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The quarantine was broken. Humans were in the galaxy now. Nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Park smiled. It was the same smile she had learned from Professor Choi all those years ago. Cold and knowing and a little bit dangerous. Send a message to Earth, she said. Tell them we made it. Tell them to send more ships. Tell them. She paused, thinking of all the years of work. All the fear and hope and determination. All the people who had fought and died and dreamed of this moment. Tell them the stars belong to everyone. We are going to make sure of that. The message was sent. The Pioneer continued on its journey. And across the galaxy, sensors detected the tiny human ship. On Tello 7, the slave named Rix heard the news. 53 years had passed. He was old now, but he remembered the message. He remembered the hope. They came, he whispered to his grandchildren. The humans came, just like they promised. On Nexus Prime, traders scrambled to update their betting pools. The odds shifted wildly. Nobody knew what would happen next. Nobody wanted to bet against the humans anymore. In the chambers of the Dominion War Council, alarms rang for the first time in decades. High Counselor Morax was long dead, but his replacement read the reports with growing fear. They've broken the quarantine. They have faster-than-light technology. They are in our space. War Minister Drax II, grandson of the original, slammed his appendage on the table. We should have destroyed them when we had the chance. Perhaps, another counselor said quietly. But we did not. And now it is too late. Far away, where thought existed without form. The Ascended watched with something like amusement. They are faster than we predicted, one observed. Yes, the threat accelerated their development. They are remarkable creatures. What will happen now? Change. Great change. The Dominion will not survive this. Neither will many other things. But new things will grow. That is the nature of the universe. Old things die so new things can live. And the humans? They will spread. They will fight. They will make friends and enemies. They will probably destroy themselves eventually. Most species do, but not yet? No, not yet. They have much to do first. The galaxy is about to become very interesting. The Pioneer flew on through the darkness. Behind it, more ships were being built. In front of it, a galaxy waited to be explored. Captain Choi looked at the stars on his screen. So many stars. So many worlds. So many species who would soon learn about humanity. Dr. Park, he said, do you think they will be afraid of us? The old scientist laughed. It was a warm sound, full of years and wisdom. Some will be afraid. Some will be curious. Some will want to be friends. Some will want to fight. It does not matter. We did not come out here to make friends or enemies. We came because humans cannot stay in one place. We have to explore. We have to grow. We have to know what is beyond the next horizon. She looked at the young captain with eyes that had seen alien warships and lived to tell about it. We are not the monsters that hide under the bed, Captain. We are the ones who check under the bed. And when we find monsters, we deal with them. And if the monsters are too big, there is no such thing. Not for us. Humans have never met a problem we could not solve eventually. It might take years. It might take generations. But we always find a way. She turned back to the window. Now let us go meet our neighbors. I have waited 76 years for this. I do not want to wait any longer. The Pioneer accelerated into the unknown. Behind them, humanity followed. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere, in the dreams of admirals and counselors and ancient beings alike, the words of that first message still echoed. We suggest you find easier prey. The galaxy had not listened. The galaxy would learn. Humans had arrived among the stars, and they were just getting started.